Hey everyone, welcome to Playbook for Amazon. My name is Alex and today I'll be your host. Today we have an amazing guest, Yohan Jacob, the president and founder of Retailbound, a firm that has helped over 500 products brands successfully break into big box retail. With over 18 years experience in helping brands, Yohan and his team help innovative products evolve into successful retail brands, one company at a time. And I'm so excited to have you, Yohan, and just discuss anything. Did I miss anything on that intro there?
Great job, Alex. Succinct and to the point.
Awesome. We're excited to have you and discuss retail. I know for a lot of the brands that listen to the podcast, a lot of brands will start on e-commerce now. A lot has changed in the retail space. Maybe we can talk about that. Let's just start with your brand and talking about Retailbound. You started in 2008. Like, what does it look like since when you started it to now, and with the landscape change to e-commerce? Just tell us about Retailbound.
Yeah, we'll talk about Retailbound first, and I'll talk about the answer to your question. So Retailbound's been around for 17 years, back when I had more hair or less shades of gray.
Same.
Yeah, I know. And we've helped a lot of young brands who don't have the time or experience get into retail the right way. I was a manufacturer over 30 years ago, trying to sell to retail like Best Buy and Walmart, and I made a lot of mistakes because I didn't really know what I didn't know, nor to have a Retailbound hold my hand to what not to do. Fast forward, I got my MBA here in Chicago, where I'm based, and became a very large retail buyer, and I saw my fair share of the good, the bad, and the ugly, how brands try to not just sell to retail, but work with retailers. I use this analogy like a job, right? The job posting is one job opening and 20 applicants. There's one slot on the shelf at Best Buy, and there's 20 great C brands, right? Like a job interview, Alex, retail buyers can tell which brands are ready to work with them, and ones aren't waste their time, wasted buyers' time, and don't get a second chance of making a first impression. So we started this company 17 years ago to help young brands avoid the mistakes I made, as well as other brands I saw as a large buyer over the last 30 years in business, by the way. But to answer your question, since 2008, a couple of things that we've seen change in the retail space. Obviously, the switch from traditional retail. When I was a retail buyer, it was brick and mortar. That was it. There was no web or mobile. We call it now omnichannel retail. COVID, it seems like a long time ago, only 5 years ago, has really helped retailers improve their omnichannel presence. Let's look at Best Buy, right? One of my favorite retailers to not just to work with, but also to shop at. They've done a great job of beefing up their web platform as well as their mobile platform, right? As well as giving things like, hey, I can buy online and pick up curbside, right? And things like that. So I think the shift from traditional to omnichannel retail has definitely changed since I was a large buyer, right? Another thing I've seen over the last 17 plus years is the growth of DC brands. So think of Peloton. In the old days, like it was a Sony or Samsung, you would make a product, but at Best Buy or Walmart, sell it there.
Yep.
You see some brands like Casper, the mattresses, or Peloton, the bikes, where now they're trying to consumers like yourself and avoid the middleman, the retail. So I've seen bigger brands avoid retail and go direct to consumers. And the last thing I think has changed a lot over the last 18 years, 17 years I've been in business, and as well as the last one about the DSC brand, is the emergence of digital marketing or social media marketing. So, and I was a large buyer, how we inform customers of sales and events were these pre-print ads in those Sunday newspapers. What's a newspaper?
I used to love those.
Yeah, I used to love Sunday mornings, open up the local paper, and you got 1,000 ads from Best Buy and Staples and Kohl's and all that. And now it's sad because even now, after being removed from retail as a buyer, I used to love Thanksgiving Day.
That was my favorite.
Oh yeah, as a kid, I would get the newspaper and start circling what I want as a gift for Christmas. Unfortunately now a lot of the ads are digital, which is actually not a bad thing, but I miss the tactile feeling of actually circling, cutting out, hey mom, dad, this is what I want for my Christmas gift. But a lot of young brands in general have now, since paper's gone away or traditional preprint, and now doing Facebook ads and Google paid ads and trying to build awareness. So that kind of leads to the Pelotons and Caspers, how they've grown is they spent a lot of time and effort in building that social media marketing plan. Those are the three things I think has changed since leaving the retail world, by the way.
Yeah, it's crazy. I miss those, especially the Thanksgiving Day ones. You wake up, back then you had the paper delivered to your door, but I even
No.
went and tried to buy one this year, and there just was like not that many ads, and it was just like, oh, I miss the days of just getting that huge stack, that
Yep.
newspaper stack, and going through them and like looking through those ads and then going and shopping. And I thought this year was a little bit more like a traditional Black Friday. Some deals were out there, but I feel like there's like, people are maybe missing that retail side of it a little bit. Like people do miss maybe going out a little bit more. I do think, obviously, with like you said, the curbside, that's I think helped a lot of brands, right? You talked about that, and they still have to have them on the shelf in the store, so they're still in the store like Best Buy or whatever. And then the curbside is where they can just go pick it up. Have you seen the curbside helping with the retail side of things, so people can just go pick it up quicker? They don't have to wait a couple of days to get a TV.
I'm not very patient myself as a consumer, and I don't want to spend hours. My wife and daughter would love an hour in a mall, right? Me, I want to get in, typical male, right? Get in, buy, and get out. So there's many times where it's a Best Buy or a retailer, if they offer curbside shopping, yeah, go online. Oh, they have it in stock, order it. And even other even like restaurants. There's a place that sells these gourmet cookies, right? Last week, same thing. Instead of me waiting to pick up these cookies for my family, I just have an app saying, I'm here. Lady comes out, here's your cookies, Mr. Jacob. Great, awesome. So even now restaurants have offered curbside deliveries like retailers, right? But even with all this online digital presence, brick and mortar or in-store retail is still a big chunk of the business. Here in the US, over 70% of business is still done brick and mortar, not online. You think with COVID, right, and online, you think it'd be a bigger percentage, but for most retailers, their online business is around that 30% mark. Up in Canada, it's even less, which is hard to believe. If you're a big country, nope, like Best Buy Canada, their online sales is about 6% of the total sales, which is amazing. BestBuy.ca, right? 6% is only online. Because when people are in stores, I'm going to go buy that TV. I walk in, oh, I see they have a great deal on a Blu-ray player, or I need some batteries, right? Costco is fantastic in doing what we call a treasure hunt. You're in Costco, buy that Pampers diapers for your toddler, and you leave with $200 in your grocery cart, right? You can't leave, right?
Yep.
Still today, 7% of sales in the US is still done via brick and mortar versus online, by the way. So online, brick and mortar's not going away anytime soon. Online, like Amazon and Wayfair, has done a great job, as well as Chewy and other e-tailers, but brick and mortar is still a way to where people can test and fill a product, get recommendations from the sales associates, and things like before they decide to buy, whether it's in-store or online or both.
Yeah, especially with those higher end purchases, like people want to do some more research. So what would you say is like your guys' like type of products that you like to work in, or physical products is your sweet spot? What does it look like with the clients that maybe are listening and, hey, I have this product? What does that kind of look like?
So Retailbound, we are very selective because our entire team is made up of former large buyers, a lot of retail buyers. So we work with Best Buy, Walmart, Target, and today we work with over 150 major retailers like Apple, Costco, QVC. So we work with a lot of major retailers in US and Canada. So we are their gatekeeper. We're their eyes and ears, right? Because buyers today, probably more today than they maybe when I was a buyer. There's so much data around, right? And you're on Amazon, right? You have so much data. You're helping your clients manage their report card. Today's buyers, there's so much data available because the world just moves much quicker than when I was a buyer, right? So they don't have the time to be merchants, going and seeing factories, developing new products from scratch, right? So they're on consultants like myself. They say, hey, Bob, I have a great brand. They have a great track record on Amazon. They have a strong digital marketing presence in Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. They have a PR plan. They do all this stuff. Now they're ready to talk to you, Best Buy. Are you interested? Sure, let's have a conversation. The retailers, the brands, the category we're strong in, the category is called hardline. So it's consumer electronics, sporting goods, toys, small appliances, housewares, things like that. Durable products. We shy away from soft lines like shirts and belts. It's very SKU intensive. We don't play in consumables like food or drink or dietary supplements. And then finally, we shy away from traditional health and wellness, like skincare, beauty care. And the reason why, two reasons why. One, because our relationships we have with retailers and distributors and reps are all on the hardline side, where it's a bike, It's a TV, it's a crib. We work with products that are more durable, right? And two, our team, myself and my colleagues, are all buyers in those categories like consumer electronics and housewares and sporting goods and toys. So it makes sense that, hey, yeah, we could do a soft line like a shirt belt, we could, but it'd be very difficult for us to charge a client X dollars if we cannot get them to retail faster than they can themselves, right? So we have the relationships, we have the experience in the hardlines category. So that's why, but besides the hardlines category, like you guys, in your agency, that's one criteria, is the product itself, is in our category, but does it also have patents or IP? But yeah, it might be an iPhone case or massage gun, which is part of our category, but those categories are very saturated. So we tend to work with more innovative products. I know one of the brands that you and I are, well, you have, and I hope I'll have after you, is an AI mouse.
Yeah.
Very cool. There's a lot of mice out there. I actually bought mice as a buyer, like Logitech and Clinton and Microsoft. There's a brand that reached out to me and you that makes this really cool AI mouse. Awesome. We're going to be working with them hopefully once they're rock and roll on Amazon, thanks to your team. Yeah, mice are very commoditized. Here's a company here in Kansas City that has this really unique twist, and retail like Staples, Market Center, and Best Buy are looking for products like this to freshen up a very stagnant category, mice and keyboards, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking for things that are unique and different, that have IP, right? The other things we look at too, and you're probably very similar, are you capitalized? Like my wife and kids, Amazon's not a cheap date, nor is Best Buy, right? You need capital to fund inventory, to do marketing, where in your world, buying reviews. At Best Buy, it's called a Tech Insider Reviews, paid ads, email blasts, put your product on Amazon.com or BestBuy.com and hope organically it's going to sell. Ain't going to work, right? So you got to be able to have capital to fund marketing, be able to wait X number of days to get paid by the retailer, things like that, right? We look at, besides the product itself, are they capitalized? But the third thing we look at, and I think you guys are very similar, is are they nice people? We call it the intangibles, because there are a lot of shady vendors out there, and our retail buyers want to avoid that. So our job is make sure these brands we work with, are they honest? Are they ethical? Do they follow through on their promises, by the way?
Yeah, those are great criteria, and thank you for sharing that, because we might have someone that has a consumable or something like that, and it's a whole different. I like that you guys have a niche and you stick to that niche, because I think sometimes there's all different types of services or consultants like you, but like you say, the hard lines where you're at, and obviously you want to work with good founders and good brands. So thanks for sharing that. Next question I have for you is, can you share maybe like a success story of a startup? You don't necessarily need to share the brand. If you can, great. But if not, then just kind of what it looked like working with you, maybe like how they came across you, where they were at currently, and then what kind of success they saw maybe getting into one of those retailers you work with.
So we have a current client called Ultrahuman. They make a smart ring. Okay, smart rings have been hot the last probably 2 or 3 years as people are going away from the watches, like the Apple watches, because the battery life is longer. Things like sleep and things like that you can test that you couldn't do on a watch, right? Ultrahuman had a successful campaign on crowdfunding, Kickstarter, you go raise maybe $1 million, did good. They looked at, okay, Amazon, DC, and then retail as part of the next step in their long-term growth, right? So they reached out in the spring of 2023, we had some conversations. We officially started with Ultrahuman the summer of 2023. And like with your agency, we spend some time what we call onboarding, making sure that before we start approaching on Amazon in your world or retail in our world, make sure we check the boxes, right? Once we check the boxes and finish their onboarding, we start approaching retailers. The first retailer that was interested was QVC, which is a 24/7 shopping network. QVC, like many retailers, don't beta test new products during Q4. It's usually reserved for proven winners.
Right.
If they know we're gonna take a chance, they actually put the ring on Black Friday of 2023. It's a $49 ring. They put it on sale for about $300, and the ring sold not in minutes, but in seconds.
Wow.
In 3 airings in late fall of 2023, they did $1.5 million in sales, one SKU, right, with 4 colors. While doing that, we used that success of QVC and correlated into opportunity for retailers like a Walmart or Verizon. So in 2024, last year, we were able to launch Ultra Human in retail like Verizon in-store, Best Buy Canada in-store, Walmart in-store, airport stores like InMotion and Brookstone. Today they're in about 2,500 stores in the US and about 300 stores in Canada. Just recently, last week, they found that they'll be in all Best Buy stores later this year, by the way.
Oh.
So here's a brand that was a one-shoe brand out of India. Really just great technology, great team, funded, nice people. Started with crowdfunding, started with Amazon, DC. We was part of the long-term growth, and over the last 18 months, we've launched them both in-store, online, in print, and on air, by the way. So that's one example of a client we've helped them go from digital to physical brick and mortar.
Awesome. Yeah, again, with those like different IP, patents, unique products, that it's not just another keyboard, another mouse, another ring. It serves a different purpose. I know that's what retailers are looking for, right? What's new and upcoming and what's cool, but also what has research and data behind it.
Yep, correct.
Cool. Awesome. As we're coming towards the end of the podcast, again, I appreciate you being on here. Can you talk about, I know you have different services and programs. I know you have one called like Retailbound Launch, another one called like Retailbound Accelerator. Can you tell us like what those look and maybe what brands are more aligned for which ones? Yeah, tell us about those two different programs you have. And
I'll start with our main one. So Retailbound Launch is our main business that keeps us gainfully employed. And that's basically us helping you do a couple things. One, get you ready for retail. So go-market strategy, pricing, pack, all that stuff you do once you've done your Amazon and DC, right? Because if you do want Amazon or DC, doesn't mean you're ready for brick and mortar like a Best Buy or Home Depot. So there's some things you need to do. So in Retailbound Launch, we offer two packages. One's more of a strictly consulting. We spend 2 months, maybe eight to 10 deliverables we do. And then after 2 months, you're on your own. We reach out to retailers. And then we have another package where we include the reader readiness, but also we include our team of outreach and sales. In the last 17 years, Retailbound is the largest retail channel management in North America. We have over 200 sales reps. We have 4 distributors, and today we have over 150 major retailers, like again, Apple, Best Buy, Costco, Home Depot, and so forth. We also work with thousands of smaller retailers through distribution. We also do, Alex, alternative retail like airport retailers, college bookstores, even premium incentive, which has been huge for brands like Ultra Human. And then for select clients, we do B2B, like contract, hospitality, and healthcare. So Retailbound Launch, basically our job is to help you launch you into retail till you're ready to replace us with an employee. And then just recently, Alex, we started this year a program called Retailbound Accelerator. It's geared to more smaller brands, more inventors that I don't have the resources to hire a Yohan full-time to get me into Best Buy, but I still want the education or the learnings of what not to do or what to do when approaching a retail the right way. So it's more of a group format, like taking a group tennis lesson or a group golf lesson, where if you are part of a small group of 4 to 8 entrepreneurs over a 4-week time period, twice a week, like going to college, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, right?
Crash course,
with Professor Yohan, right? But over the 4 weeks, you're going to learn about challenge strategy, price modeling, how to negotiate agreements, how to find a 3PL. And then for select brands, after they complete the 4-week course, they haven't bombed out, like join the Navy SEALs, right? They haven't bombed out, right? We'll make introductions to partners in our network, where it's distributors and reps that can facilitate retail buyer introductions. There's no guarantees that after 4 weeks with me that you're going to be talking to Best Buy, Home Depot, but if you do survive, make some introductions to some reps and distributors in our network who could possibly connect you with Best Buy, Home Depot, Apple, Costco, and so forth, by the way.
Okay, awesome. I love the two different options because I know entrepreneurs are at different stages and some are more ready than others or further along in the process. So having those two options. So anyone that reaches out to you, just make sure you mention that TurnKey, you listen to the podcast, and TurnKey Product Management sent you over to Yohan. But how can people find out about you? How can they reach out? How can they connect? How can they get into one of your programs? Like, let us know how we can. We'll also put them in the show notes, but just let us know right now on the podcast how we can get in touch with you.
The best way is going to our website, which is retailbound.com. Obviously, we're very active on LinkedIn, so let's connect on LinkedIn. But I always tell a lot of young brands that the first step is once you raise capital, where it's through equity or word crowdfunding, right, or on your own, and you launch your DTC, I always say Amazon's the first place, because most retail buyers might say, hey, I have this really cool brand, but are in Amazon, right? They look at the A+ content, they look at the pricing, they look at the reviews, right? So I always tell brands, before you approach retail, like a Best Buy, Home Depot, try and get some success on Amazon. If you're feeling on Amazon.com, where you're an agency like yours or you're doing it yourself, you're not even successful in retail. So get Amazon rock and rolling, get your DC strategy rock and roll, and then retail is the next step, because retail, like purchasing Amazon, is not a easy journey. It takes time. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. I always tell y'all young brands.
Yeah, with retail, there's only so much limited space, right? In a retail
Right.
location, they have to really allocate that space to the things that are going to move and make dollars for them. So I understand why you've got to have everything ready to go and looking good for these buyers. You
Yep.
can't just have not a great backside as far as like Amazon and your e-commerce and your website. Get those things dialed in, right? Because
Right.
these retail buyers, even though you're retail, are still looking at the whole brand as a whole, and data, I imagine, as a whole as well, because they got to really, every square foot that's how they look at retail, right? Every square foot is $1, and how much is it going to generate out the door? So
That's
well,
correct.
I appreciate you being on the podcast, and we are excited to hopefully have some brands come your way and use your services. So thank you again.
I appreciate it, Alex.